This person was awarded one of the top 10 Working Women of America award. That's a pretty big space there. And the other one I wanted to mention, where'd it go here? She just became the winner of the 2017 Linked to Expert Collaboration Champion of the Year award. That just came out, and that's for helping others achieve goals through collaboration. A good portion of it is come to fruition in here, collaborating with everybody to get them to be visible and put them ahead of her. So I'd like you to welcome that person back again, which would be Rebecca.
Thank
Hope
you.
I don't get fired, huh?
Well, I want to talk about being experts because I believe this is a room full of experts. Would you agree? Amazing talent, amazing skills, amazing expertises that can help people around the world. But one of the challenges I find is experts want to be influencers. They don't just want to be experts. They want to create influence that makes a difference in more people's lives. Would you agree? But they don't know how to go from expert to influencer. How do we make that shift? And what is an influencer? So Voice America has an opinion about what an influencer is. They define it as someone that has an influence, a reach of 1 million or more. I like to add to that that they are in multiple medias, not just one media. Because we need to find ways to reach people in multiple ways. But here's the challenge. Experts, we have an expertise frequently in one space. We know how to be on stage, and we're good at that, and we can do that connection. But you put us on radio, and we're not quite sure what to do, and the time is going so quickly, and we're trying to show up as a speaker in the radio world, but we're not heard as the same sort of expert that we are in that media. And then we're on television, and we don't know how to show up there because it's not giving a presentation, and there isn't a live audience. How do we connect? Or in writing, we can't write exactly the way we speak. It's not read in the same manner. So I believe to make that shift, to step into that space of being an influencer, we need to have a level of skills, mastery of certain skills in each of those medias, so we can actually be recognized as the expert we are in each of them. Does that make sense? Because here's what happens in radio. You have to speak in sound bites. You get 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds to answer a question. So less is more. Remember, the people that are listening aren't necessarily involved in the area of expertise you are. So what you're very comfortable in, how it all connects, and you want to go to the next thing and take them on a journey, your 90 seconds is gone, and they're lost. And there's too much. So you want to think of less is more, and a soundbite. Something that you can say, life is not a solo journey. That means this. And then you say it again, life is not a solo journey. You can do that in 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And a lot of times they'll use those clips to advertise for the show. So you want to have a plan when you're on radio shows where you're really able to show up on brand and on purpose. Same thing if you're on television. You want to kind of know where the cameras are, perhaps what to wear and not wear. Like I have this fabulous dress I want to wear later that has all these circles and patterns. It wouldn't look good on film. But you know, the VIP Afterglow isn't filmed, so that I can choose that. So it's kind of choosing the time and the place for what you're wearing, for how you're showing up and what you're sharing, so that you're able to navigate through all these different medias and still be seen as the expert you are. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's run through some of that. And just as a reminder, we remember this. Okay. So we have another powerful chart that we get to fill out. Sticky paper. as we make that shift, expert to influencer. Now, we've covered some of these things earlier today when we were talking about growing your list, growing your reach, monetizing some of those things. And influence, that means you're able to reach a variety of people in a global way, or in a global manner, I should say, in multiple medias. So I want you to think back to the flower chart that we did and think about the different medias that you're in currently. And what is your comfort level when you're in some of those medias? Do you really feel like you're heard and understood, that you're coming across as the expert that you are? Or is it somewhere you're feeling a little bit challenged or struggling? You're not quite sure how to manage that space. So if you have done a radio interview, for instance, and you were left kind of like, nobody responded to my offer, they didn't take that next step, or I'm not sure I was really heard. Can I give you an extra credit bonus? I know we like those, or I like them. Yes. I know some like them here, extra credit bonus. Listen to the shows you've been on, but listen as a listener. Not as the expert, not as the guest, but as a listener. And see what pulls you in, what you wanted more of, and perhaps what you wanted less of. So listen to the shows you've been interviewed on. Watch the shows you've been interviewed on. And I can tell you it's a little scary and uncomfortable, and we resist it. Every person just about that I talk to resists that. They don't want to listen. They don't want to watch. And the best way to do it is to have a little bit of space. So you have the show, you do the interview, whatever it may be. Give yourself a few days, a week. Celebrate you did it. Woohoo! Then take a breath and then watch it with curiosity, as if you're viewing it for the first time, like you don't know what's coming. And just see what engages you and do more of that. See what, that didn't work. Do less of that. I discovered all kinds of things about myself on film. Things that really didn't work well. And things that worked great, because I had never seen myself as a speaker because I was speaking. So it's a valuable learning tool, is to watch yourself, observe with love, see what you like. It's not with criticism, it's not with judgment. What did I like about this speaker? What did I want more of? What did I like about that interview? What was exciting? And frequently it'll be the things you didn't think. A lot of times it's when we stop trying to share something that we've planned, and we breathe into our depth and our knowledge, and our roots go deep, and we share from that place naturally and authentically. Those are usually the best moments. Another technique you can use is in the mirror. Because sometimes as a speaker, one of the things that was really hard for me when I stepped into that space was eye contact. Because I'd start wondering what they're thinking, and I'd get lost in the eyes, and then I didn't know where I was in my presentation. So learning how to make eye contact, but like not getting lost in it, was something I needed to learn. And so looking at myself in the mirror and speaking to myself and practicing the eye contact was a really powerful tool for me. And then seeing how animated I could be just to stretch the limits, because I was so used to being in a formal kind of executive environment for my speaking. So knowing that there was more of a range that I could bring, and maybe it felt weird on the inside, but actually it was great and more engaging and fun when I watched it. So allowing yourself to play a little bit in the different medias. And if there's a media that you're struggling in, get support. You don't have to do it all on your own. Get someone to help you. What are the 5 things, 6 things, 7 things you need to know when you show up in this media? Kind of the do's and the don'ts and the etiquette, so that you can really shine in your expertise and they can hear you. Because to be an influencer, it's not enough to be an expert. Not that I say just an expert, but it's not enough to have the influence you want to stay in the expert space. You have to be willing to translate it in different arenas so that you can be heard and have that influence and that impact. So it's good to take a moment and just think about what are some spaces you've been in that maybe it was a first time, what worked well, what would you perhaps not do again, or they just didn't seem to quite hear me. It's good to reflect on that. And again, it's not with criticism, it's with awareness. Sometimes you're in the wrong space. Maybe that wasn't the stage for you to be on. Has anyone been there or perhaps known somebody that's done that? They looked out and they're like, ooh, these are not my people. And it can be a really long 20 minutes. And you're just trying to get through and serve, and sometimes they'll give you more because they feel time, because they feel bad, and you're just, So do a little research ahead of time. Not all stages are the ones to say yes to. Not all shows are ones to say yes to. You want to make sure it's a right fit so you can shine. You can serve. Your time and energy is precious. Be really careful how you spend it. On purpose. Let it serve you. Let it serve those that you're trying to reach. So as we look at stepping into that place of influence, we've got to pay attention to our mindset. For emphasis. Yeah, ta-da! Mindset. Thank you. I needed that. Thank you. Let me drop it again. So our mindset, being open, wanting to have that impact. One of the things when I first felt the calling to be a motivational speaker, I was, I think, 18 years old, 19 years old, still struggling in saying my name and standing up in front of people. And I went to a Women's of Faith conference up in Sacramento. I don't know if anyone's attended one of those conferences, but thousands and thousands and thousands of women in an arena. I had never been to anything like that. And there's this little tiny stage up on a jumbotron of women of all different shapes and sizes sharing their stories. And I felt healing in my heart, and I saw it around me, and it planted the idea that maybe my story could be used for good. And that took root. So I came home. Has anyone ever, or somebody you know, experienced that conference high where afterwards you can do everything within a day? You can change the whole world a day. I had never experienced that before, multiplied by thousands. So I come home, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. My arms are flailing, very animated. I know that's probably surprising. I was very animated about it. And I said, I want to be a motivational speaker. Ta-da! And she looked at me, took this in, put her arm around me with love, and said, honey, that's great. However, you do understand that means you actually have to get up on a stage and speak. I went, oh. I hadn't connected those particular dots. I wanted the change, I wanted the transformation, but I didn't want to have to be seen, vulnerable to do it. So part of the mindset we have to have is we have to be willing to go where we need to go, become what we need to become to serve who we're called to serve. We have to be willing to be seen and honor that whole journey. Build in the support we need so we can keep standing in that space and being seen. Guarding our time, guarding our energy, having boundaries, using tools to support us so we can be in that space. Because it takes energy, it takes support, and you've got to give that to yourself. So that's part of your roots going deep so you can keep standing in that space and serving. Okay? So mindset, making that decision, that willingness. And then we talked about the multiple medias. See if there's one that you're struggling with a little bit, or you're feeling like you're just not sure what to do. That's a great place to start. Put that on your list. I need some support around radio interviews. I need support around television interviews, whatever it is. Because once you know what you need, then you can lean into getting support in that and building that skill. It's a skill. It's a muscle you can build. It's techniques you can learn. You need to grow your list. We've talked about this. But it's critical if you're going to be an influencer. You need to grow your list and you need to grow your reach. And which multiple medias. Yeah, handwriting and spelling doesn't count. Just
You're so
thank you. Do you ever have that where your mind goes so fast it might skip a letter or something? As you're going along. So part of growing your list is you need to have a range of offerings that are right sized and appropriate for each of the medias. One of the challenges I find, and it breaks people's hearts, is when they're ready to serve someone, they want to do that consultation, they want to have that one-on-one time of connection and really pour in, which is high value, high touch. But for a listener of a radio show or a viewer of our television show, they're not ready for that level of intimacy. So they're going to shy away from it. They're ready to learn more about you. They're ready to get on your list. They'd love to watch a video. They would love to have a report, an ebook, something where they can get to know you a little bit before they're ready to go on a date and open up themselves on a deeper level. So you need to have a range, and it's important to have some things that are date sensitive and some things that are not. You want to have this range so you can use them strategically in different ways. You can offer different things in person and on stage. On panels, that's another area you want to think about. You have to show up a little differently when you're on a panel versus when you're the keynote speaker. So knowing a little bit of the etiquette and how to navigate through that. So I encourage you to mark just some areas that you're feeling like, that is something I'm not sure about, or that's something I think I'm going to work on a little bit because I want to step into that place of influence. But if we're not aware that there are even differences, we can be burning bridges. We can be never invited back again on a show that we thought was amazing because we didn't know. Social media. That's part of where you get that reach. So there's the list that is that more intimate, ongoing communication with your people. Sometimes there's a newsletter you might do, magazine, different ways, offerings that you're communicating with your list. But then there's the social media presence and promotional reach that you're spreading the message out to as well. And between the two, that's where you want to grow to 1 million or more to get into that place of influence. So social media, online type of reach. And then you want to, my favorite, leverage and collaborate. I think sometimes we take too short-sighted of a view. We go to an event, we want results. We make an offer, we want a result. We meet someone, there's a great connection, but we want a result right now. Some of my most powerful connections we've developed over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 9 years. In a way, less is more. Go deeper. Look to connect with 3 people, 5 people, and build a relationship over time. And you can lean in giving first. That's something when I was in BNI that was a really powerful gift that I learned was giver's gain. And you give referrals, not necessarily expecting anything in return. But if you can become a hub, the connector of things, that's a super powerful position. You become the person people go to with all of their needs because you always know somebody. If you can't help them, you know someone who can. And that builds trust. That builds influence. Other collaborators will lean into you. So kind of expanding that view again. Sometimes we're looking at one thing, what can I do for them? Can I help them? I can't, and we leave it at that. But we all know a lot of experts. And if we can connect them, everybody wins. So be willing to do that. Be willing to have that conversation. Be willing to collaborate with others. Build over time. It'll be amazing where that leads. Sometimes I think in our industry we get a little bit too extreme about referral fees and those types of things. And there's a place for that. So I'm not against that, but I think sometimes we put a little more emphasis on that than we should. And if you know somebody that can help somebody, I invite you to connect them. Believe me, you will get back in other ways that'll amaze you. And it'll become bigger and bigger than you could have imagined. So just something to kind of think about when you're out there collaborating. Really look to connect in with powerful individuals that are willing to have a big influence like you're wanting to have. I was at the, I'm trying to remember. So it's a big women's conference. I'm blinking on the name. Yes, thank you. Watermark Conference. So I was there last year, and I've been there for a couple of years as media, and we're interviewing different experts. And one year we did it on the radio side, and then the next year we did it on the television side. So we're interviewing all different kinds of people. And one of the people that I connected in with and resonated with was Isabel, and she was from Worldwide Women Organization. And I just loved her energy, connected in with her. We loved her so much, we all interviewed her. She has a whole series all about Isabel and their organization. And we just loved her. We felt a great connection. We weren't asking for anything in return. We didn't expect anything in return, but it was an organization that's doing such good out there, helping girls and women in such a powerful way that we were honored to share that out. Well, then I got an introduction to the founder and got to interview her on my show, and we had a really great connection and rapport. And now they're launching some new things. I'm one of the first people they called wanting me to be involved in any of the things that they're doing. And they're now putting our programs on their sites, and they're echoing them out throughout the world. We're becoming a trusted source they're wanting to direct traffic to as a women-owned business. But I didn't know that was on the horizon. That was not my objective, was to get visibility and position myself. I saw an organization doing great work that, hey, we can echo you out in this way. We can showcase what you're doing so more people can be served. So be willing to lean in first. Be willing to build those relationships and see where they go. That's part of collaboration. That makes sense? Great. And if you want to see those shows, by the way, if you go on our live events channel, you'll see some of our interviews and lots of Isabel. We loved Isabel. And then in each of these areas, you want to have a strategy. Again, I keep saying this over and over because I want it to be something that you internalize, that you're precious, that your gifts and your talents and your resources are precious and needed. So have a plan of how you're going to share them, how you're going to step into these different spaces. Be strategic. Not sneaky, strategic. Just so I'm clear. As you're going out there in the world, because it really matters. And part of how we go faster is remembering to stop and pause. It's not just doing. It's not just more. It's the right steps. It's the ones that head in the right direction for you. Because we can go really fast and far this way, but we're supposed to be going that way. So what can help us go in the right direction is pausing, taking a breath, checking the road signs, and making sure we're going where we're called to be. And that'll help us know what to say yes and no to. So if this is a journey you're called to go on, I want you to know you don't need to do it alone. I would be honored to support you in this way if you feel resonance with this. If I'm not the right fit for you, go find that person or those experts that can help you. Because if you feel a call to be an influencer, that means you're needed. Not yesterday, or I'm sorry, not tomorrow, today. You're needed now. If you feel that pull, I want to encourage you to take it seriously and find your path, your way to step into that influence that you're called to be in. The way we make the world a better place is one heart, one choice at a time. Being willing to lean in and share our gifts, our talents with another, life by life, heart by heart. So let's take a moment to pause, breathe, just feel in. I want to give you a moment to process what's being spoken into your heart and spirit. Because it's not a journey to be taken lightly, but we desperately need experts that are willing to step into their influence. The world is crying out for them. So with that, I want to give us a moment. You notice these flower pens that we have on our tables? It's not just for the spring theme. This is actually something one of my grandmothers, another grandmother, I was blessed with 4, used to make flower pens. And she tied into the season, and this was her way of making the world a better, brighter place. And I saw these one day, and I went, oh, that's us. That's us. We each have our own fragrance and color and texture that we bring to this garden of life, and we forget. So can I have you stand up and hold your flower pens up? Oh, you got 2. Look at that. I love it, Doug. Now notice all different colors, textures, each one made with love and blessings and excitement to see who will pick that flower and which flower will pick them. And notice, as you lift this up, it creates a lot of color and richness in the garden. Now, a couple of people, drop your flowers down. Now notice, we're all occupying the same space, but our garden just became less vibrant. That's what happens when we shrink back and we hide our gifts. So I want to encourage you that wherever you go, whatever you do, may you be willing to bloom where you're planted and shine brightly out in the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Are you a speaker looking to reach more people with your message? You have a global vision that you want to touch the world and make a global difference. If so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's called the Speaker Talent Search. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. You'll find all the details, but here are the highlights. With one application process, you get clarity on your message. You get to fine-tune how you want to reach the world. Then you'll have everything ready in one place for the opportunities when they come. Second, we select you as a finalist. You get to come in and audition with a 7-minute audition, open up the door to hundreds of speaking opportunities. I hope you lean in. I hope you say yes. We would love to hear your message, help you touch the world powerfully. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your powerful message. Hi, I'm Rebecca Hall Gruyter, and I am the producer of the Empowered Connections TV channel. And I wanted to personally invite you to come on over, enjoy our amazing shows. We are all about empowering women. We're all about transforming lives. We're empowering men to really step out and be all they can be. We are looking for programming and shows to bring things to the next level. So if you are somebody that feels a show birthing within you, you have a calling to bring your show to life and touch the world, please reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. We are launching new programs and shows every week, every month, because we're going to change the world. I look forward to talking to you.